time Antoine Griezmann was told he didn't fit, he changed shape without losing himself. That's the thread that runs through his career. Not the biggest, not the flashiest, but always the one who found a new way forward. He grew up in Macon, a small city in eastern France, with a left foot and a dream that didn't care about size charts. French academies did care. One after another, they told him no. Too small, too light, not built for the grind. At 13, he got an unlikely lifeline from Spain. Real Sociedad invited him to San Sebastian, far from home. New language, new food, new everything. He lived with host families and learned Spanish at school during the day, then learned how to survive training at night. The club eased him in, then raised the bar. He built up from the youth teams to the first team, not with headlines, but with hours, miles, and quiet progress. In 2009-10, he helped Sociedad get promoted to La Liga and held his spot once they got there. The national team noticed. He won the European Under-19 Championship with France in 2010, then hit a wall in 2012 when he and a few teammates were suspended from youth duty for breaking curfew. It hurt, but it taught him the cost of small choices and the value of earning trust back. By the time he was called to the senior team in 2014, he was ready. That same summer, he moved to Atletico Madrid. It wasn't a soft landing. Diego Simeone's team demanded constant work, hard pressing, no hiding. Griezmann arrived as a winger, slim, quick, more flair than fight. He left that version of himself behind. In a matter of months, he became a second striker who ran without complaint and finished with cold blood. By season's end, he was scoring over 20 league goals and tracking back as if his life depended on it. 2 years later, France hosted the European Championship, and the country put its hopes on players like him. He started slowly, then caught fire. Goals in the knockout stages, runs timed to the second, a sense that whenever he drifted into space, the match tilted his way. He finished as the tournament's top scorer and best player. And still, in Paris, Portugal beat France in the final. That loss stayed with him, a quiet sting behind the smile. Club life answered with a different kind of reward. In 2018, Atletico lifted the Europa League, and Griezmann scored twice in the final. That summer, he filmed La Decisión, a documentary that followed his choice to stay at Atletico rather than leave. It was bold, maybe too bold. Some loved the loyalty. Others thought it drew too much attention. 1 year later, he left for Barcelona anyway. Barcelona brought trophies, but also friction. The team had a fixed way of playing, long shaped around Lionel Messi, and space in the box was a precious thing. Griezmann did what he always did. He tried to adapt. He pressed, he combined, he moved anywhere managers asked, left, right, central. He scored important goals, like in the Copa del Rey, but he never felt like the main note in the song. Week after week, he shouldered the awkwardness of being a star who had to live between the lines, and the criticism that came with it. In 2021, he returned to Atletico, first on loan. The homecoming looked simple, but it wasn't. Some fans felt betrayed by his exit, and he had to win them back the hard way. Early in the 2022-23 season, he faced another odd turn. A contract clause meant Atletico limited his minutes off the bench to avoid triggering a fee. So he reinvented himself yet again, this time as the most dangerous 30-minute player in Europe. He came on late, changed the tempo, stole points. Eventually, the clubs found a deal. The minutes restriction ended, and he went back to starting matches as the brain and the blade of Simeone's attack. Meanwhile, the national team asked for something new in Qatar. Didier Deschamps moved him into midfield, deeper than he'd ever played at a World Cup. It could have swallowed him. Instead, he turned into France's connector, a tireless playmaker who covered ground, won tackles, and laid on chance after chance. He barely shot, but he made others dangerous. France fell to Argentina on penalties in a final for the ages, and once more, Griezmann walked off without the trophy he'd earned, with his legs and lungs. What followed was a final act that looked like a summing up of them all. Back at Atletico, he mixed the discipline he'd learned as a teenager in Spain with the instincts of a natural forward. One game, he was a creator dropping into midfield and threading passes between lines. The next, he was a finisher, sneaking off a defender's shoulder and flashing a first-time strike past the keeper. The numbers piled up, and with them, history. He rose to become Atletico Madrid's all-time leading scorer, proof not just of talent, but of staying power.